Why do you think child support is such a taboo conversation for men? Like it's a triggering conversation. They automatically become on the defense. Most men, not all, but many men.
Because a lot of women take advantage of the situation. I mean,
that's one.
The majority of the women that put their men on child support, it's to get back at them for the breakup.
Don't say majority.
I disagree with that.
Say something.
I disagree with that.
A large percentage.
I disagree with that. There's a lot of variables to child support, the initiation of it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think men look at it as a negative thing because they're the ones that's being taken to court mostly. Just to spell one myth about that.
Let's go for it.
Just women who have to deal with child support. Men deal with child support issues too.
They sure do, baby.
But I also feel like men who are on the side of paying don't always know or exercise their rights. And the men that are single dads also don't know or exercise their rights. So it's just not really a one-sided thing.
I agree.
Women get the worst rep.
Yes, that is true.
And men do look at it like when they're a non-custodial parent, speaking the terms, correct term, they're a non-custodial parent, they feel like it's a life or death sentence. The same things that you shared when you were together, you should share when you were apart. That is helping take care of the kids. That is helping financially. So when you say you held up, and let me tell you something, I held off too. I'm not coming at you for holding up because I did the same thing more than once because it's exhausting. It's a tiring and exhausting and heart-wrenching process. You said you kept a separate account or whatever. My shit went in the same account that I took care of these kids with. And that included the household expenses because these kids eat.
Yeah, I used some of the stuff on there, but I kept it separate.
I didn't parse out shit. I didn't say this was separate.
No,
This child support plus my income, hear me and my kids.
There you go.
Period, point blank. However that was.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here putting shit aside. I was in the process for years. So listen, whatever I got, did what it had to do, and that's it, and that's all.
The views and opinions expressed in this episode are based on our personal experiences, which occurred years ago. Please note that child support laws and regulations may have changed since then, and they can vary significantly by state or jurisdiction. In some states, it may be up to the judge to revoke child support if paternity was misrepresented, but this can differ depending on local laws. We encourage you to do your own research or consult with a legal professional to better understand the current laws in your area. While this podcast is based on our truth and experiences, it is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as legal advice. Oh, and by the way, no baby daddies were harmed in the making of this podcast. Not one single baby daddy. And if they should feel some kind of way, they know what they did or didn't do. So sit back and enjoy, and don't forget to like, share, and comment. See you on the other side.
Yes, ladies.
So, how are you ladies doing today?
You're doing just fine. And yourself?
Wonderful. How are you?
I am fantabulous.
Oh,
that's great.
If I do say so myself.
She said fantabulous.
Yes. We're talking about the lovely topic that many women that rear children that are no longer with dudes like to talk about. Child support conversations.
Can I just dispel one myth about that?
Let's go for it.
Just women who have to deal with child support. Men deal with child support issues too.
They sure do, baby.
But I also feel like men who are on the side of paying don't always know or exercise their rights. And the men that are single dads also don't know or exercise their rights. So it's not really a one-sided thing.
No.
It's equal rights. Each party has the right to child support depending on the situation.
Okay.
Which I agree.
I agree
I'm
with you.
not disputing that.
I agree.
But women get the worst rep.
Yes, that is true.
And men do look at it like they are, when they're the person who has to, when they're the non-custodial parent, speaking the terms, correct term, when they're the non-custodial parent, they feel like it's a life or death sentence.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do you think child support is such a taboo conversation for men? Like it's a triggering conversation. They automatically become on the defense. Most men, not all, but many men.
Because a lot of women take advantage of the situation. I mean,
that's one.
The majority of the women that put their men on child support, it's to get back at them for the breakup.
Don't say majority. Say something.
I disagree with that.
A large percentage.
I disagree with that. There's a lot of variables to child support, the initiation of it, whatever. I think men look at it as a negative thing because they're the ones that's being taken to court mostly. If you look at the numbers, you look at the statistics, or you look at friends talking to friends who are in broken families, you'll see a lot of men are the ones that's being taken to child support. Because I go back to my initial statement that a lot of men don't know or exercise their rights when it comes to child support. So I'm not disagreeing with the revenge shit, but that's also on the opposite side too, where the men, they don't pay child support because they're mad and they're pissed off that they even have to go.
Yes.
So that's their revenge in that instance.
I always had an issue with it in the beginning because I used...
An issue with what? Child support?
With child support. I never wanted to take...
I have an issue with it as well.
Their father to child support because I knew what can happen and what happens behind the scenes because of the stories I used to hear. And first off, what my sister went through. But if I'm constantly trying to have conversations with you and you're not even reciprocating or trying to compromise in any way, shape, or form, then I had no other choice.
And that,
there are some women that just come out here and have babies just to take their man to child support, so they ain't got to work.
I don't know if that's the whole case. I don't know if that's the case. That's another broad statement. I won't say it's not true, but it's very broad.
It is a very broad statement, but I would say some of that happens with like women that believe the man is maybe more well off, and they're like, "That's my meal ticket." I could see it from that,
and you see, I
could see from that vantage point.
That more in a celebrity, style type of situation,
or some girls that may think the dude has a bit money and he wasn't popping.
I don't like the idea of child support because at the end of the day, I didn't do this by myself. I did not have this child by myself. When we were together, we were taking care of the kids together. So why now that we're apart? And that's why I say that the revenge part comes on the male side. Okay, they don't want to contribute because now you're broken up. So, and that's not the case for everybody. But if we were doing this together when we were together, put us aside. It's about the kids first and foremost. We need to take care of these kids together the same way, but from a financial perspective. Now, it's not even in raising them. You still should have you should still have the conversations about how the children should be raised because you guys had these children.
We didn't even have that conversation.
And that's a bigger issue than the financial.
Yes.
Yeah, because
had he been doing that, it would have been a little bit more different where I would have held off. And in this situation, I've always made more.
You mean you would have held off from taking them to child support?
Yes. Because by him doing that part where he's picking them up, taking them to school, doing things like that, I wouldn't have pushed the issue as much.
That's another misunderstanding as well. Child support is equal amongst both parties. When you go
I understand that, but I know what implications based on your statement that it can have, especially where their finances are concerned. And depending on the state that you're in, if it's a woman's state,
different.
Like Connecticut is a woman's state. So the child support up here is kind of crazy. I just would have held off just a little bit more. But the mere fact that every time I went to him, and it wasn't for much, when I got Champion into daycare, all I needed from him was $50 a week.
I still don't understand why you would have held off. I go back to my stance.
Because he's helping me in other aspects.
To my stance as you guys both have these children together.
I was just trying to keep the peace and make sure that because we needed to be cordial and be co-parenting at some point. But before,
to whose expense? I want you to think about that statement that you made. And the reason why I say that, you can tell I'm pretty much passionate about it.
No, I'm passionate also, but
and felt like you didn't have to go through it. But when I look at it, and I still go back to, we were doing this together when we were together. So all those same things.
The situation is different.
Finance aside.
Okay.
All of those same things we were doing together, picking up the kids. We shared that. when we were together, right?
Yes.
We shared the finances when we were together. So what makes it different when we're apart? The same things that you shared when you were together, you should share when you're apart. That is helping take care of the kids. That is helping financially. So when you say you held up, and let me tell you something, I held up too. I'm not coming at you for holding up because I did the same thing more than once because it's exhausting. It's a tiring and exhausting and heart-wrenching process.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do it because of circumstances. There are many women who don't pursue child support. There are many men who don't pursue child support. But the ones that do, I don't want to say it's always because of circumstances, because sometimes it's right is right. That's just what it is. But a lot of it's due to circumstances.
I get that. But see, our situations is different. You were married. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was making more. Up until Champion went to daycare, there wasn't really a need for extra help because I had the help where I didn't really have to pay monetary to take care of them. The normal food, the roof over their head, that was already something I'm doing, and they're there, and they're not taking up much for me to have to need help.
So you fall in that category of the person who, if I can do it,
yes,
I want to do it, I'm not taking this.
And during that time, I tried to let him know the kids need you. I need you in their life. We tried to have these conversations. It just didn't happen. And then now he's going to school. He's about to go to kindergarten. I needed money now to pay for tuition, for school clothes and things like that. So this is when I tried to have another conversation with him. Look, I only need $50 a week from you. Could you please handle that? And his response to me was very nasty and very disrespectful to the point of, fuck them kids. But that was the response that I got.
You know, and that's how I feel when the other party don't want to help take care of the kids that you guys help create. To me, that's
what it's giving.
That's what it's giving.
That's what it's giving.
So I feel like the fact that you didn't pursue it initially because you was like, I got it, and I'm gonna do it because I don't need you now. Now it's like, okay, now I have an extra expense that I maybe because we'll cover, and now I need you to help me. Was like it gave him almost like a why you need me now kind of. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but that's how I would think he probably would have thought.
But I always had the conversation with him about money. Anything that you could give me. I mean, I was just trying to keep the peace.
Just contribute whatever he could contribute.
Yes, because I needed him to be more with the kids. I wanted them to really, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times we had it was turning into arguments. Yeah. It was just getting to a point that I couldn't do it anymore. And that was when I finally did it. And even when I did that, after all the stories that I hear about how first time in court, judge automatically ordered this, that, and the third, no. Because we were both working and because I made more, we showed up to court 8 times before the judge finally did and each 8 times I'm taking off of work to go deal with this, and he wasn't showing up. And the only reason why the judgment was made because the 6th time, that was when he showed up. He made a big stink about me making more, saying, why does he have to do it? And that was when the judge started asking, because the first 5 times, there was nothing to go off of because he didn't show up. So now they wanted pay stubs, yes, from both of us. The 7th time he didn't show up, 8th time he didn't show up. And that was when the judge finally made an order on the situation.
Yeah.
After the 2nd payment came out, because he was working right around the corner from where I lived in Harlem. After that 2nd payment came, he decided to pack up and leave, and he left the state. And it took a long time for them to catch up with him.
Yeah, it makes the process difficult for sure.
Yes.
You both have these kids. If we break up, if expenses are $6,000 a month, let's just say that when we're together. Now we're no longer together, but we have children. Expenses is still $6,000. We were together. You put in $3,000. I put in $3,000. Let's just assume it was 50-50, right? Even though I know there's a big thing for 50-50 bullshit, but let's just assume that is the case. We break up. The expenses of the household was $6,000. Why can't you just put in your $3,000? You decide to leave. Put your fucking $3,000 in. Or one may say, well, some of that is expenses you. Okay, so what is the kids' expenses? If the kids' expenses out of the $6,000 with tuition and all that shit is really $4,000, let's just say, You put in your 2,000, let me put my 2,000 and keep it pushing. Like, I don't understand why it has to be a thing.
They don't think that.
But this is the problem.
That is the
because I feel like if we have that discussion, if you know the expenses because you was here, you break up, you know what the shit is. So now just ante up your portion. I shouldn't have to take you to child support. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I shouldn't have to.
You know what should have never had to go.
And you have to get involved in your
finances where your kids are concerned.
Where your kids are concerned, and you shouldn't even have to. My opinion, I shouldn't
have to ask. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
You know what the shit is.
And
so
now understand the who makes more, who makes less, because at the end of the day, so when you go to child support, right, you got to provide a financial or income statement. And everybody's not going to be honest. Let's just be real with that. Especially if they're in a business where they're getting paid on the table.
Oh, they're not going to be honest. Yeah. But that's still crazy because that's your kids. Yeah. It's not for the women, it's for your kids. But carry on.
So whatever. So let's just say you're coming in with a legit income statement. At the end of the day, if you make $65,000 a year and you make $100,000 a year, it appears that you're contributing more. But it's us only because 17% of $100,000 is different than 17% of $65,000. So you're both paying the same percentage. They look at it percentage wise based off of income. So it looks skewed also because it says it doesn't look like I'm paying anything out of my pocket because I'm not the one paying child support. Yeah. The person that's paying child support is like, it looks like money's coming out of their pocket. Money's coming out of the custodial parent's pocket every day. Goddamn day. So while you're the one actually paying that 17% on your $100,000 salary, I'm paying more than 17%. I'm the custodial parent. And I'm taking care of these parents day in and day out. And I'm doing all the expenses that you're not doing.
And it's little, the minute. Go ahead.
That's the perfect world. It should be like that. I'm dealing on what I dealt with. And bottom line is, at this point, I have two. I needed to keep my mental sanity in check because the conversations with him, especially on my money, was getting nasty. I couldn't, at that moment, I tried to deal with it as best I could. So I thought by putting it off, hoping that me and him would come to some type of understanding was the goal. So if I have to deal with it a little bit longer to keep the peace or to at least him come see the children, that's what I was trying to do. I shouldn't have waited as long as I did, but this is what I was dealt with.
I did the same thing. I started it. I stopped it for the same exact reason, the frustrations, the emotions. It was just too much, right? Then when it got to a point where, listen, this is not working. I cannot take care of these kids by myself financially.
And I get that.
I cannot. Went back. You know what the judge told me? Why the hell you wait so long?
And that was the question that I got.
You wait so long.
Because the first job
the
was...
money that you deserve to help take care of your kid.
I understand where y'all both coming from, but I also ride with the judge because my thing is, again, personalities, and I ain't been in this situation, but just me being hot with it, and an analogy I used earlier is like, if this is the case and you know the expenses, I shouldn't have to take it. Let's not act stupid. Just do what you need to do, and there'll be no trouble. It's not even about us. Like, sometimes men use the excuse, oh, she just want me still. Sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with that shit.
And I'm not gonna lie, women do play that.
They do play that card. Yes, they do. They hold it up. They hold the kids. They poison the kids' mind. I don't believe in doing that either because I think that's wrong too.
They're gonna make up their own mind
at the time when they ready. The kids will.
You don't need to tell them nothing.
The kids will figure it out. It should be an easy conversation of this is what it is. So just just ante up what you're supposed to do, and then I don't have to. I shouldn't have to take you to child support because then if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now that's one thing. The other thing too is don't just think you're gonna. If you think you're gonna just pay, let's say the dudes that do pay, but you're not spending no time with the kid. Don't get upset with me when now you want to go see little Johnny and little Johnny be like, I don't really want to go with my daddy because he don't know you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't, and then they'll do that, be like, oh, she's poisoning. No, you ain't been around. You know, so I just think that the dude should just do what he's supposed to do. Now, the moment he agrees to, okay, it's going to be this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pay whatever it is. And then he don't do what he for.
I'm supposed to go right back.
Right back. It's like, what happened? Because the bills are still coming. It don't matter what your situation is like. Because if we were together, you would have figured that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
You knew, you know what I'm saying?
Because I had two separate occasions of doing it, right?
Okay.
First time didn't do it, got told why it takes so long. Can I calculate the arrears? No, I can't. Because I wasn't keeping track
Yeah.
of the first order.
Mm-hmm.
So next time I had to go back, I had to make sure I tracked the arrears. Which I felt like, why do I have to do it? Because we in a damn system now.
They should know.
But no, they put so much onus on. You wouldn't believe some of the things that the custodial parent go through. You guys, people think that the person that's a non-custodial parent or the person that's shared parent child support goes through a lot. The custodial parent goes through a lot too.
I believe it.
And I know a couple of men, and that's why I know I can speak somewhat from a man's perspective on who are custodial parents and they don't pursue their rights. They don't go for child support.
I know.
And that's where the negative connotation come at about how it's mostly women because mostly women do it. Men don't exercise their rights, or men they're overpaying because situations change. Situations change, and they don't go back and they don't go and ask for an adjustment. You know how many times they will send you a letter saying you have the right to come and go for an adjustment,
And they don't do it. They leave it the way it is.
Women too, because I myself I was guilty of that. I have got a letter more than one time to come in for an adjustment. I'm like,
you don't want to deal with it.
Back in this damn court again. I'm going to deal with what I got. I'm okay right now. But the other women don't have that. They don't have that option either. So it's not a system you should want to be in.
No, didn't enjoy it at all.
Do you think, what about the men that get suckered into paying for child support that the kids ain't theirs? Do you think there should be a mandate if the moment you file for child support to take a DNA test?
Well, they're supposed to do that.
Do they do it now?
I don't know if they do that now. Because here's the thing. It's not even...
When did that happen? I never heard of it back then.
I know the non-custodial parent or the father can request it. They don't. It's not.
I'm talking about it should be mandatory.
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can be requested.
It can be, yeah.
What I don't agree with, where if the person that's being taken child support, man or female, well, male, because it's a male perspective. Like, so he find out that the kid's not his. He is still required because he signed that first.
I know you fucking lying.
Yeah.
I ain't know that.
Yeah.
What? Time out. He finds out the kid is not his. He's been paying, but because
and that birth certificate and said that kid is his.
Now,
but biologically the kid is not.
No.
So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Unless he wants to, and he wants to continue that relationship, and he wants to pay that child support, then that's why.
But then you got men that don't want to. There's some that are pissed. Now, the only thing I never looked up is, are they allowed to sue?
Sue what?
Sue her for damages.
I haven't looked that up either, but I do know just because he signed that birth certificate, he's obligated.
Let me try to think about this logically. So he's saying that I'm the father because he signed the paper, even though biologically he finds out later he wasn't. But he could have been duped. I feel like he was duped in the beginning, unless she told him outright, like, hey, you know how some men, they captain save a hoe, right? So forgive me. No. I'm sorry. This is it. No more. They want to feel, I think it makes them feel more important. I'm doing this for her. So she may be with child before they got together. And then he loves her, legit, like he really loves her. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna sign that birth because the dude is out of the picture, right? You know, let's make it even a more sad story. Maybe the guy died. Maybe the baby father was, in the army, whatever. He's gone, So now this guy steps in. I can make a story up. Forgive me. So the guy steps in, and he's playing daddy, and he's playing husband. It goes well for 5 years until it doesn't. It stops. He knew he wasn't the father, but he signed that birth certificate because he was playing that role.
Or adopted a child.
See, now, if you adopted the child, you got to pay child support.
Yeah. That's different. I'm talking, well, I guess you were talking about those situations where they were together, they got married, they've been together now,
he gotta pay
10, 12 years.
He got to pay child support.
All this time,
I'm talking
he's
about
thinking that they was only them two, and all the while she was messing with some dude on the side.
That's fucked up.
No, but
what if he was
they're married?
What if she cheated and then he didn't know, he thought the kid was his. Like, that's some crazy shit.
That's crazy.
They claim I know what the rights
Yeah.
are. I just know you signed it.
Damn, that's crazy.
There's got to be something in that. If he decides to divorce her, now that he finds out that all 3 kids are not his type thing, or like the first one isn't because she cheated and they're married, and I mean, why would he think anything else?
I agree with you.
That shit is crazy.
So I'm as far as the legalities behind all that stuff, I don't know all, like what their rights may be in terms of taking that chick down.
Going down, bitch.
So now off topic or going next. The youngest one, which is my youngest son, I didn't take his father to child support because no matter what, I never had to ask. If I said he needed something, he was always, no matter what was going on between me and him, if I called you and said, don't y'all need this, this, and this, I got it. He didn't have to give me the money as long as he went out and went and got it and brought the stuff to me.
But so this is the thing. Okay, so I'm playing devil's advocate. Are you asking a question? Are you saying when I call you, you deliver? Or is it something consistent?
It was always consistent.
That's different.
That was always
that's fine.
consistent.
So every Friday, whatever, here you go. Bam.
He was the one that used to bring home his check to me.
Right.
And I would be the one to do what I needed to do.
But now y'all broken up, but he still did it.
Even after I broke up.
That's different though. So that's doing what you're supposed to do.
Connect those two. That's just his personality. I'm gonna make sure home is taken care of.
Yeah.
So my child is in that home. I'm gonna make sure my child is in that home.
Yeah.
He was an asshole at times, but that was the one thing I can commend him on.
You can't take credit. You can't take credit for it.
Yeah.
So that's just the type of person he is from a male perspective. I'm going to make sure that my house is good and the children that live in that house.
Yes. And it wasn't just about him. Yeah. He always looked out for Diddy and Champion as well. So that was the one thing I can commend him on. And when we split up, that first year was rough. But it got to a point where I would tell Dontrell, yo, go tell your dad what you need. And that's how we handled it for a while until
We made the transition.
It made it easier. And then after that, if he would call to check up on him and I would tell him, he needs this equipment because he played a lot of sports, he just made sure he got it. And that was all right by me. You don't have to give me money. You go buy what I need.
Do you think women have the upper hand when it comes to child support?
Not always.
Yeah.
So let me ask you in what regard?
Because it goes back to your statement. Men don't.
They don't.
They don't. And because of that, judges are more inclined to fall, or the woman gets more out of the deal than the men would.
The reason why because I was probably thinking from a personal perspective of an incident while I was in the process, that I felt like I was getting the shit hand.
Yeah.
Usually.
And that's how I felt too.
And because, let me tell you, they offered the homeboy an attorney. They never offered me an attorney. The amount of times I had to go back, and I was bringing what you was asking me, and this dude showing up empty-handed with nothing. It took me leveraging services at my employer to figure out what I need to do, because they happen to know the magistrate. Because I even went to the point of trying to write a letter to get a different magistrate because this dude was not listening to me. So
he was trying to advocate on old boy, like, because he's trying to give him
that's what he seemed.
Yeah.
But it got to, and then so found out that I was trying to get another magistrate. But then I also used services by my employer to speak to a legal person, and he told me exactly what I needed to do to walk in there, so I can walk out and not feel like depleted again. Like, why am I even going through this? Because I was at the point where I'm like, fuck this shit. I'll figure it out. That's why I was going from this perspective where I say the woman don't always have the upper hand, because it depends on who you're in front of.
That's true.
It depends on what state you're in.
There's so many variables.
So many.
See, I wasn't offered that. I wasn't offered legal counsel until the 7th time we went in, because at this point, he showed up the last time. I represented myself. They offered him when he came in.
No.
They never offered me. And then the 7th time when I came in, I was getting mad now because, and I actually, the woman almost held me in contempt because I got nasty now because I'm like, I'm taking time off of work to be here and he's just getting a slap on the wrist and he's not here again. I can't keep taking off of work. So I was looking for her to make a decision. She's saying we have to come back. And that was when she offered someone to come speak to me. Someone from the audience came, they took me into a room. We talked for a few minutes. I explained the situation and they came back. And then he represented me the next time we came in. And that was when the judge made a decision. And then they changed the judge when he tried to have it adjusted. And we got a man this time in.
So yeah, I mean, a lot, like you said, a lot of variables to how things are handled. But even to your reference back to my initial statement about more women go through the process or exercise their right in that process versus men, then I guess from that perspective, you could probably say, yeah, I don't like they have the upper hand because why should I have to go through this process to begin with?
And that's how I always felt.
Yeah. So I don't think it's an upper hand situation for anyone. I just think you find that more women are the ones who are going through the process or taking the fathers to child support than
the men are.
And it's funny, the men that do exercise the right, the few that do, sometimes they get a hard way when they're in court because it's like, oh, you can't take care of them. Why do we need to be here? Yeah, because they're a man, they're supposed to be able to just take.
That's the societal, definition. A man takes care of the household. You should, like, what you asking for money for when you should be. That's just old ideologies on what it is.
But and they don't understand how it impacts the kids because you have instances where if they're as being automatically taken out, they're given it voluntarily or whatever have you, and the kid calls the ass to put something offside. It's your mama. She getting my money.
And it's like, why are you even putting that in the kid's head?
Yep.
That's number one. Because come on.
And those one-off things versus the things that happen daily.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, it's no comparison, dude. No.
Even if he had a problem with it, even if the dude had a problem with it, that's not something you say to the kid. Go back to the woman and be like, all right, so I'm giving you.
Joey asking me for something.
Fuck, he asking me for something.
Bring the money out, sit your ass.
But yeah, work it out with y'all. You know what I mean?
And I dealt with that. At some point, they used to go and act.
Most people.
And he would tell me it turned into a conversation in my house about, oh, why can't I get this, and this? Because Dad said
and they don't understand.
And they didn't understand, but
you
I always
TV,
kept the
you
money
got Nickelodeon,
separate.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
You got Nickelodeon, you got clothes.
Exactly. Ain't covering.
It's not covering all that stuff.
No, it's not. But
I'm not saying about my rent, my electric bill, my gas or whatever. It's not covering all the expenses for the child.
No.
And it don't. But I always kept that money separate. It was never mingled in mine. It had its own account. And that was what I used for the extracurricular stuff that I did.
Listen.
I almost had to knock one of my kids out. Because they just felt the money was theirs. It shouldn't be used for the house. If I want money, I should be getting it.
Well, I will tell you.
Almost knock a tooth out.
Kids take their marriage out. I knew this young.
I really wished one of them would.
I knew this young lady.
Wait, what?
I knew this young lady took her father to court for child support.
Yeah.
Because he was not. I think it wasn't even for child support. It was actually for the arrears.
Okay.
Not paying child support all these years. They have the right to do that. So if you never paid the mother child support, the child can go to take you to court and put you in arrears. And the child support gets paid directly to the child.
Up until what age?
Same age.
But 20.
Let's just say, I think it's 18.
18?
Yeah, it's 18.
They're not even required to pay.
Oh, after 18, that's right. After 18, I'm thinking of healthcare. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're not even required to help pay for higher education and child support.
Are you sure?
Yeah. So, I mean, before.
Okay.
But
because there's a form that they can fill out to have
higher education
to have it cut off.
Higher education is voluntary, where apparently it's not. When I was going through my process, there was a young lady in there taking her father to child support court. So up until the age of 18, he wasn't doing anything. So he's in arrears from 18.
Wow.
And it will all go to her. I don't know how she has to show approval on that stuff, but I know that they can take their parents to child.
I mean, look, you're not taking care of me financially, and clearly you're not taking care of me mentally, emotionally, or anything. Because if he was a dad in her life, she wouldn't even feel the need to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's messed up. Yeah. There's so many different stories and different angles that you could look at it. I just wish that people would see past their ego, see past the whole, like when you mention child support, it's like a dark cloud on both sides, and it automatically is triggering for people. And I wish people could just see past and be like, you got, this is for the kids, you know? So I think a lot of men think, okay, so if you were getting, I don't know, let's say $1,000 a month, just for the even, you know, easy figure, which if you got that and it's for the kids, right? 2 kids. Let's just say 2 kids, $1,000 a month.
And he's paying $1,000?
Yeah, he's paying it, right? So
exactly.
What the fuck?
I knew women that was getting way more than that.
$25.
Okay, let's just say 1,000, right? Because
I mean, I was having my kids, but
yeah. So that's crazy. So when you think about it, it's like that 1,000 is not, he's thinking it's for the kids. And I'm wondering what men really think that goes to.
They think you're spending the money, thotting and bopping in the club.
Oh yeah, popping it like a job. No, I know, but even for the kids, it's like, okay, so let's say a lot of men do think that, but let's think about the man. Like, has he really sat down and thought that you got the school clothes, you got the food, you got the extracurricular activities, because mama working. So now if you working a 9 to 5 and these are kids young, they have to have an after school program.
Yeah.
Unless, and if you, depending on where you live in, maybe you don't want to put them in the one in around your way. You need to put them one by your job because it makes it easier for you to pick up, because he ain't picking them up. So now you got that. That's just after school. So what if they were already doing extracurricular activities, swim, lacrosse, football, basketball, whatever, that got to come out too, because it's part of it. And then I think, and maybe y'all could beat me over the head if y'all want, but so that's for the kids. But then it's the house. The kids live in that house. So a portion of that mortgage, rent, whatever you doing.
Yeah.
But the kids live there.
They don't look at that.
If you was already,
who's not the
you
courts
would have
or the
custodial parent.
Yeah.
And the courts. The courts don't look at it. They don't say, okay, you're giving X amount of dollars a month, because it's not weekly or bi-weekly, it's monthly.
Yeah.
Those dollars should be allocated this way. They don't get into all of that minutia.
Because
you need to pay this amount of money based off of your salary and a percentage.
Okay.
One percentage for one child, another percentage for 2.
That's the course. I'm talking about the man. Because a man ain't.
Exactly.
They don't want to pay. They want to figure out how much the shit gets broken down.
But that's what if they would think about it, because it's like, okay, so now you all, I'm being facetious, but
especially you don't care about how you paying your goddamn rent.
Because if we didn't have these kids, you would have been paying that for yourself regardless.
Okay, fair. So now I'm gonna take it. Forget the rent. Let's extract that. Now you got Johnny. He's 13 years old. You ain't got no streaming services. I'm trying to keep it up to date. Not going back in the day when there was like cable boxes and shit. Johnny's coming home like, Mommy, I can't even see Kendrick Lamar. They not like us. I want to pop out and show niggas, and I can't because we can't see this shit. We ain't got no TV. So now, okay, so I'm gonna take some of your child support. They're not even little shit like I'm being funny, but
I will say, listen, you said you kept a separate account or whatever. My shit went in the same account that I paid, that took care of these kids with, and that included the household expenses because these kids eat.
Yeah, I used some of the stuff on there, but I kept it separate.
I didn't parse out shit. I didn't say this was separate.
No,
This child support plus my income, hear me and my kids.
There you go.
Period, point blank. However that was.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here putting shit aside because, listen, first of all, the percentage was fucked up.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then it was.
Their money was for extracurricular activities.
It was years later that I was in the process for years. So listen, whatever I got, did what it had to do, and that's it, and that's all. That's it.
I always kept it separate because of how we were back and forth in court. Arguing about stuff. I wanted to make sure that everything from the time it started to the time it ended. All the activity, no, because every time I spent money or any time I used it, I kept receipts.
Why did you feel that you had to prove that?
Because of what I went through trying to even get it situated with him in court. It didn't get better until when he started a family with someone else.
So you talk about your relationship with him, not the court situation.
Court and him, period. Even though it was the judgment, that judge was really somewhat nasty to me.
Mm-hmm.
She was nicer to him than she was to me.
Well, okay.
I think that, you know what? Before I know you're going to ask a question,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like that is the same thing. And I'm like, why being nice to this person who's not trying to help the kid that got there?
And I could never understand it.
Right? So I feel like because they probably see too many black men in the courts.
No, but we're talking about black men because that's who you guys were with. But the reality is, it's not just a black thing. It's a white thing. It's Hispanic thing. And all the colors of the rainbow. They have these issues, right?
My own theories on that one too because of the judge. But
the other piece is, I think you're onto something. It could be too many men, and it could be that maybe that judge has also seen a lot of women that were just doing it, and they were not doing it in the same vein that, like, yo, I need this. Yeah. They were trying to be nasty and malicious with it. So maybe there's a lot of women that do that.
No, a lot of women. Listen, I'm not saying women are not. Women can be some nasty.
Yeah, we can for sure, but men can too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You are in a position to do a certain job.
Mm-hmm.
In every case, that's
supposed to be fair.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be fair.
Yeah.
You can obviously tell, like, to me, and I know I probably was the only one in my courtroom at that time, but I know if I was on the other side, I was in that judge's seat, I would have looked, just looking at the two individuals, you could tell something. All she wants to do is take care of her kids.
Yeah.
And all she wants to do is have them help.
That's it. Yeah. Do you think it is an opportunity that it can actually get better? Like, what do you think would make it better for women and men to just co-parent?
Communication.
Mm-hmm. But
and
also
think about
delivering.
Who you having kids with before.
Let me say something.
Say that. Wait, I didn't see what she heard. What she said.
And think about who you trying to have kids with before you have them.
Oh, well, that's a huge one. But we're not doing a lot. Woo, shit.
Listen,
Yeah. But also things happen.
I had a family member of mine was a young parent.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he and the person that that they were together at the time when they got pregnant and had the children, and then they broke up at some point. We talked, and they're like, they were, I say young parents, it was before they graduated high school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's look at them maybe in their early 20s, whatever, break up or whatever. Kids probably 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
They co-parents,
Mm-hmm.
like speaking grown ass people, been out in the world and lived a little bit, don't know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
Their main priority was their kids.
Yeah.
20 something years
That's
old.
all.
So they're mature enough to do it. Mm-hmm.
My responsibility is to these kids.
Yeah, I love that though.
I have nothing. I don't owe her nothing.
I love that.
All we owe is our children, and they co-parent so well, even still to this day.
That's awesome.
I'm not gonna say they didn't have hiccups because everybody do, but what was demonstrated to me, I was like, I wish that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
When we broke up, that's what I wanted. And I expressed that over and over again. It just wasn't reciprocated. It wasn't heard. It wasn't, I don't know, just couldn't be understood. But it was like, if everyone could be just that way.
Yeah.
You would know, the courts would never see people in their house.
It sounds to me that they were mature enough to understand that this is what the priorities here, and then that's that.
That's how my daughter was. That's the one thing I can say. The two fathers, they hang out because that's how they co-parent. They had a conversation. Yeah. He made it clear he's not trying to replace you, but we need to be, and they get along remarkably well.
Brothers in the same situation. They came into relationships with women who had children, and they wind up knowing the father of children, and it's easy peasy. It's nothing. Like,
so I guess that's actually ending on a good note, because it's like, if you guys are listening and you guys are going through issues with your baby mama, your baby daddy, whatever, hearing both of these scenarios, these last stories, is like, there is a way to actually co-parent in a manner that it's respected. And then as the kids get older, it would be a beautiful thing. Because I think too, sometimes people make things harder than they need to be. And I think a lot of that has a lot to do with them and less about the situation. Yeah. It's their own internal struggles. You made a point too, and I'm not trying to keep this on going on, but you did make a point.
I did have a question.
Hold on, you can ask. You made a point of like, be careful who you had these kids with, right? It's the heat of passion. No one's thinking about that, but you should.
I started early.
Okay.
We'll go back to the previous where
Mhm.
I had my first at 18 and my last at 26. Now, in hindsight, I'm looking and reflecting on my life. I could have waited.
You know what? We gonna document this shit because you gonna see, and I'm sure you wanna watch the episode where the bitch said, "I'm happy I had my kids," and I did. No, I did. No. You said I'm happy I had my kids at the age that I did because now I'm a free bird.
Yes, but the person that I chose,
I see what you're saying.
I could have waited, or I could have been more proactive in who I chose.
Fair enough.
Yes,
but I also am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So if you did not choose the person that you choose, you wouldn't have the kids that you have right now. So there you go.
The question I did have though was, if there was money that has not been paid to you, or if there's money out there that was never paid, would you forgive it?
Listen, I forgave years.
You did.
Yeah. Listen, like I told you, I got 2 letters 2 times to go for an adjustment, and I never did.
Okay.
Because to me, I want to say that it was about the money because I did need the help financially. I just couldn't do it on my own. It's just a point of like, these are your kids too. Care about your kids enough to make sure that they're good. That's it.
So, but the money was coming though.
But after, like I said, I was going through the process for years. Yeah, it finally came.
But so, does he still owe you even though the kids are grown?
Everything is settled.
It's settled. Okay. See, I finally decided to forgive.
So you still have money owed to you?
Oh, I had a lot of money because it went for years because he was out of state.
Yeah.
It made it harder to catch up with him.
Yeah.
And each time he found a job, after a few months, it would get caught up with him and then he would quit.
Well, the kids
just to avoid. Yeah, the kids was always with me.
No, I'm talking about at the time when you finally got caught up to him and he still was tending to have been behind. Like, so I guess what I'm asking you, when you decided to forgive the financial aspect of him not paying,
the kids were grown.
They were grown and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably would have too. What am I going to go back and like? Because at the end of the day, it was me about home. You take care of my kids. It wasn't about me.
I was kind of listening to people I had conversations with on it, and they were saying that at some point you probably will get the money if he ever hits lotto, things like that. It would get paid out first because that's things that
they do track.
Yeah.
Some kind of things. I mean, at the end of the day, if it was in the system and it got lost in the system and you didn't pursue it, then I think that they're gonna say that's on you. That's not gonna say something. Like, so if let's just say,
but it would still get paid out if that person hit lotto. If they ever came into some money, taxes, student loan, and things like that you owe.
Let me tell you why you should really look into that.
Okay.
Because if you have a case, right?
Okay.
And at some point that case goes dormant or get lost or whatever, and you didn't pursue to pick that case back up, the case is probably done and dropped. So they're probably not keeping track of it anymore is what I'm saying.
No, but they count. Okay.
You're talking about the taxes. I get what you said.
But not just that.
They keep tax. They're going to keep track of taxes. The federal government's going to keep track of taxes, student loans. So again, if he hits a lotto, he's definitely going to pay those things. Child support, I don't know.
In the state of New York, that's how I looked at it because that's where our case is. I never had it transferred up here. And each time we had to go to court, he would have to fly here for us to deal with it. They contacted me every few years, even during those spans that I wasn't getting anything, to ask me, do I know where he lived? Do I have any information on him? Do you want to keep the case going? Even after the kids turned 18, they notified me. What made me decide was I had a conversation with his other kid's mother because we still kept in contact with each other. And he wasn't supporting her financially, but he did the things that I was hoping and looking for him to do with his first two.
Another topic.
Yes. So because he was and she, commended him on that part. He may not have been there financially when she really needs it, but he was the one taking him to school, picking him up, doing things like that. So that's what's, to me, at least he got some things right the second time around. And it was weighing on me because I was struggling with whether to forgive him or not because I'm holding on. And more and more I thought about it, it felt like I was holding on to my past. And I needed to release some of that stuff. So I said, So when he finally caught me and asked me again, they took my driver's license away, things is going on. Could you please consider? And we came to an agreement. He paid me what I asked for. And that paid for one of my classes when I was working on my master's. And as a result, I signed the papers and forgave it. But he still owed money to the state of New York for that short span of time that I was receiving help.
You forgave the arrears or you forgave the child support order?
The child support order and the arrears. So altogether, they forgave. It was $67,000 that they forgave that he owed me.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, to be quite honest with you, because I feel like I said, there was a time period where I didn't go back and I was reminded that I should have been keeping track of the arrears.
No, at least with New York, they were constantly in contact with me.
Another thing, I'm not saying that they sent me letters and stuff, but when you go into the front of the judge, that was that thing. But the system is something. But you know what? As a custodial parent who took the custodial parent child support, you pay the fee to child support. They would withdraw every year annual fee out of one of my payments.
I never noticed that. I was getting the same amount.
Wow.
I was in New York State, so I wasn't in the 5 boroughs.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's different. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I didn't even know that. So that's something.
Yeah, I would I think it was the same month every year. I'm sure. And because you was able to go look online or whatever. And it was a fee.
Wow.
I paid to exercise my rights.
My rights. Yeah.
Wow.
They're going to make their money.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully we can get to a point in society where we are choosing our partners, and to the point where if it doesn't work out, you can come to some sort of understanding that it's really for the kids. Just do the right thing.
Thing by your kids. It's the right thing for yourself at the end of the day. Like, I just understand people who go to sleep at night and know that they have a responsibility and an obligation to someone that they decided, whether they decided that, because sometimes they don't decide now, right? But that they're here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
Just do the right thing. On that note.
Ain't got to worry about that no more. Shop closed. Done and done. Cheers, ladies.
Another great episode.